Yeah, you were in Iraq in 2009 when we were still, rebuilding. And it seemed like, it was a very different war. We didn't just bomb the crap out of them when we invaded and tried to rebuild and create a democracy and capitalism and all that. What went so wrong that now you have two countries that didn't have terrorism before in Iraq and Syria? They're now overrun by these gigantic, huge militias.
Well, is a little different in the sense that it was an artificial construct. We can go all the way back to a quick lesson in the history of the Ottoman Empire and everything else like that. But the idea was that it was an artificial construct of Sunni Shias and Kurds that was held together by a strongman government and a secret police force. We busted that all apart and never quite figured out what to do about it after that. That set off these dominoes falling. The rise of Sunni power in the Middle East, the interest of Shias to band together with Iran and Kurdish independence and all these other things. It's essentially a problem that the United States has failed to really understand, that these are not sort of countries in the traditional sort of World War II sense, where we invade Germany and blow up Berlin, and then we capture their flag and win. They are an amalgam of tribes and allegiances and religious groups and what have you. You can't, and they partner with each other, and they fuss with each other, and they fight with each other on a fluid basis. It's not a chessboard. There aren't moves and counter moves. To drag the analogy, I'm afraid, further out, it's like six-dimensional chess, and you don't even understand the rules that the other side is playing on. At some point, the question arises that if you don't know the game, if you don't know the rules, and the other side appears to be sort of good at it, at what point do you realize it's not your game, and you need to question strongly, why are you involved in the Middle East? What is America's fight there? And whether we still need to even be there doing whatever it is we think we're doing.
Well, just as an aside, I remember in 2008 when Joe Biden was running for president, he was talking about that exact thing, maybe splitting Iraq up into three different countries based on, tribal associations. ISIS at the end of the day is a temporary problem, whereas the Sunni-Shiite clash is never going anywhere. Do you think in the future that Iraq will end up, splintering into three countries? And if so, do you think that the U.S. should just stay out of that and let that happen? Or do you think that we should undo the mistakes that the West created in the first place?
Well, first of all, the question of whether or not Iraq is going to break into three countries, in a way, has already been de facto answered. It is three. We won't call them countries. They're not going to have teams in the Olympics for quite some time. But I mean, I'll call them statelets, for lack of a better word. That's already happened. Whether we wanted it to happen, or whether we admit it happened, or whatever you want to say, there are three separate statelets there. Kurdistan is, in fact, a fully autonomous region. It's got its own army, its own government. It uses its own currency. I mean, they're everything short of an Olympic team. Shia Iraq is strongly allied with the Iranians and has a very defined physical space that they control. There's inter-Shia issues which are separate from all this. And the Sunnis keep being squeezed further and further west towards Syria, and currently have ISIS sort of fighting on their side. But as you pointed out, ISIS is a temporary thing. It would be replaced by something, the sons of ISIS or what have you. At this point, if the United States wanted to do anything at all, and I'm certainly not advocating that, I'm advocating the United States step away from all this and let the interested parties work it out. But if the United States wanted to do anything at all, the job would be to manage the process of dissolution, to manage the rebordering, and to kind of lessen the chance that this will all just spill into chaos to create, again, these ungoverned spaces which encourage terrorism. We could, for example, look for ways to buffer the Sunnis and the Shias in Iraq. We could look for ways to see where the natural fault lines between Sunni Syria/Iraq and currently the Iraqi borders are, and see if we can't help define that area and keep these forces apart from one another. Instead, we're sort of fighting all of them at the same time, and the results speak for themselves.